Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
This is America's Outdoor Talk program.
Are you ready to get rowdy?
Outdoors This Week with your host, Alex Langer. Alex Langer. We've got fishing.
Believe me, folks, I have been there, and the fishing has been tremendous.
Hiking.
Adios. Have a nice trip.
Camping.
This is a real adventure.
How do you know?
When you're an experienced woodsman like me, you get a feel for these things.
Oh, really?
Heck, we've even got kayaking.
I'm going to show you kids the time of your life.
We've got all the info you need for a safe and fun day in the sun.
It's a darn good thing we found you when we did. There's something horrible roaming these woods.
And you've got Outdoors This Week. Outdoors This Week. And now, here's your host, Alex Langer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that was me that they mentioned, so I guess I better get my mouth into gear, talk to you, and see how you're doing. Lynn, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing very well.
Great.
I'm really glad that the heat wave in the Northeast where we are has kind of backed off. It was evil there for a while.
It was pretty bad. I agree. Well, let me tell you something. We have two guests today. We have Judy Wong, who is from Louisiana. She's saying that Toledo Bend is almost drying up. So she's taken to painting huge bass around the sides of the lake. And if you want to find out what that's all about, stay with us. But first, if that's not good enough for you, we have Hank Parker with us. Hank, of course, is the winner of the Bassmaster Classic twice. And he is one of the longest-running fishing TV hosts in history. Hank is an old friend, as is Judy, and Hank and I actually did some TV stuff together about 20 years ago. All that does is make me old. Yeah, it should impress you, but it just makes me sound old, actually, and I'm sorry I brought it up. That alone is like 20 pounds of stuff in a 2-pound bag today. Plus, we have our regular parade of people. We've got Larry Whiteley from Bass Pro Shops with the Bass Pro Shops report. We got Ron Linder with the Linder report. Then we have Wade Bourne with the Wired to Fish report. So, again, if that's not a terrific show, I know what is. Stick with us. We'll be right back. After this, you'll hear Larry Whiteley from Bass Pro. Don't go away.
Hang tight. More of America's Outdoor Talk program, Outdoors This Week, after this.
Hi folks, Ron Linder here for Linder's Angling Edge Television, and get ready because January 1st on the all-new NBC Sports, formerly called the Versus Channel, we're going to be playing all our new shows. So you can see us there, and WFN, and a lot of more stations across the United States. But as far as a network is concerned, you can see us on NBC Sports, which used to be called the Versus Channel. All new shows, power-packed with great stuff. Okay, what's new? Boating debts hit record low. It's the last couple of years, they've dropped by almost 10%. And actually, from years back, it's growing. The boats are just more safe. That in a nutshell. I'm talking about freshwater fishing boats in particular, not the racy stuff and racing around, but I'm talking about recreational fishing boats. The fatalities in 2010 fell to the lowest number ever recorded. This was according to the U.S. Coast Guard's annual boating statistical report issued in June. Even as boating participated continued to increase, remember it's going up, more than 82 million, according to their statistics. 82 million went boating last year. Fatalities in the largest category, open motorboats, have remained relatively low and constant over the past 5 years, averaging just a small, while they're the largest percent of all the deaths on the water, you got to remember that it's 99% of the boats out there. So, by contrast, the number of canoeing and kayak fatalities have risen steadily in time, from 14 to 21%. So, canoeing and kayaks are going up, and fishing boats is going way down. The overall number of deaths is a drop of nearly 10% since last couple of years. And alcohol abuse, of course, ranked as the top contributing factor in boating accidents. You see them out there. In my guiding years, if they brought beer in a boat, even beer, and if they uncorked a flask, I'd say the trip is over, guys. It was implicated in over about 25% of the deaths. Other factors included operator inattention, improper lookout, probably talking on a cell phone. I don't know that's not in here. Operator inexperience, and one of the things, of course, is excessive speed. Now, one of the things that we thought would happen is as the horsepower went up, we were very, very cautious in this area because we work closely with like Lund Boats. We work very closely with them. We thought as the horsepower went up that the number of accidents would increase. They simply didn't. It didn't happen. And actually they went down and down. The boats handle much better. They don't tip, etc. So anyway, in a nutshell, boating deaths in fishing-type boats have hit a record low during the maximum of usage, 82 million, whatever it is, trips. Well, that's it for now. See you later, folks.
This is America's favorite outdoor talk program, Outdoors This Week, with your host, Alex Langer.
I am the High Commander.
I'm the big boss bass.
Today, one of these lucky contestants will win his or her weight in fish right here on
Now, back to Outdoors This Week. Here's your host, Alex Langer.
Why, thank you, Mr. Announcer. We're back, and we've got a very special treat for you. Of course, I always say that only about a third of the time it's true, but today it is absolutely true. We have one of the all-time greats of bass fishing with us today. The CBS Morning Show described following our guest when introducing him as the rod and reel answer to Michael Jordan in popularity and talent. Hank Parker has won 2 Bassmasters Classics, one in 1979 and also one in 1989, a 10-year span, which is pretty unusual in terms of Bassmaster Classics. He won the Grand Slam of bass fishing, which included Bass Angler of the Year title, the Bass Super Bass Tournament, and also a Bassmaster Classic. Hank, welcome.
Hey, good to be here. How in the world are you doing? I hadn't seen you in forever.
I know, Hank. Last time I saw you, I think was in Tyler, Texas. We were shooting an infomercial for something. I don't remember what.
I remember that. I think I saw you one time after that, but it's been too long anyway. It's good to talk to you.
It has been too long, and it's wonderful to talk to you. You're celebrating 25 years on television. I remember when you started, it was like yesterday. I guess it tells me that I'm old. That's all that says.
The Bible says life is like a vapor, and when it doesn't seem like that when you're a kid, but as you get older, you look around. I went to the ICAST show in Las Vegas last week, and somebody said, how many of these have you been to? And I started counting. I said, 36. I've been to 36 ICAST. It's crazy. Time just flies.
What did you see at ICAST? Did anything stand out this year?
There are a lot of neat things, and it was a little bit better show than it was year before last, so I think we're gaining a little bit of ground, getting better. But Abu Garcia has a casting reel called a MGX, and the whole reel weighs 5.3 ounces. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I've had the opportunity since then to fish with it, and it's amazing. It's crazy. I mean, you wouldn't believe how sensitive you get a fishing rod now and match it up that weighs about 6 ounces, and you got 11.3 ounces in your hand. It's like an extension of your own body. You can feel every move your lure makes. It's just incredible how sensitive it is.
That's unbelievable. What other things did you see at the ICAST show?
There is a new line that Trilene brought out called Nanofil. It is a new polymer-type super line, and it is a 1 pound diameter is like 10-pound test. It's just incredible. And this stuff you can cast it strictly for spinning reels, but you can cast it a mile. It's just amazing stuff.
Was there any other lines that caught your fancy at the ICAST show or not?
Well, there's a couple that they've got out that Trilene came out with that were pretty interesting, but nothing quite as catchy as this Nanofield. It was, it kind of stole the show in the line category, and of course that MGX won Best of Show, and then Patrick Sabile had a crankbait, a deep diving crankbait that has one single hook that swings underneath its belly and is completely weedless. You can run it through the weeds, through the trees, but then when the fish clamps down on it, makes the hook protrude above the back of the crankbait, and you hook the fish. Is pretty impressive. He won Best of Show with that particular lure. So there are a lot of interesting things.
So is the single hook on the back of the crankbait, or is it on the belly?
It starts at the belly, Alex. It comes right underneath the bill on a swivel and protrudes back. It's like a big 6/0 hook. It's like on a 4.5 or 5-inch deep diving crankbait, a magnum size crankbait, and it must be a 6/0 hook. And it's on a swing, and the hook lies underneath the belly until you push on it. And then when you push on it, the hook pops up the top of the back of the crankbait.
I haven't seen that. I'm going to have to check that out. Hank, do you have any new products?
I don't. I'm working hard just trying to promote for the sponsors that we have. And I've got products in the hunting side of the business, Alex. We started a hunting show with my two boys 5 years ago, and we worked with Khmer deer and Swacker broadheads.
I remember that.
But on the fishing side, I've stayed pretty clean with the companies that I work with. I left Mann's about 5 years ago, and I work with Pure Fishing now at Berkeley. So I don't have any lures. I got a couple of jigs over there. I got a new swimming jig. I forgot about that. I've been working on that, and they brought that out this year. It's a Hank Parker swimming jig.
You were known, obviously, for the classic spinnerbait that you won the Bassmaster Classic on. Is Mann's still selling that, or are they not selling
Mann's does. They still sell that bait called the classic spinnerbait. Doesn't have my name on it anymore, but it's still the classic spinnerbait. Still a great bait, and they're still doing well with that bait. I've been working on a new one for about a year and a half, and having a little bit of problems getting it made the way I want to. So we're going to have that hopefully next ICAST. We should have that ready.
Okay, so we'll look for that at the next ICAST. Hank, we got to take a quick break. Would you come back for another segment?
Absolutely. I'll be right here, buddy.
That's great. Folks, stay with us. We have the Hank Parker with us, and we'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Don't change that dial. Alex will be right back with more of Outdoors This Week after these messages.
It takes a whole lot of fishing to do a little bit of catching. It takes a whole lot of fishing to do a little bit of catching.
This is Outdoors This Week with Alex Langer.
Think of me as the genie in the magic lamp.
You're watching the Fish Network. All fish, all the time.
Good show. Jolly good show.
Papa was a fishing man. Fishy fish.
Now, back to Outdoors This Week. Here's your host, Alex Langer.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the Hank Parker with us. Probably know Hank from his television show. And it's Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine. He launched it in 1985 in national syndication, and it went from the Nashville Network, which no longer exists, to the National Network, which no longer exists, to the Outdoor Life Network, which does exist, to the Outdoor Channel, and now it resides on the Versus Network. Hank, the story of your show is almost the story of outdoor television itself, don't you think?
Well, we've been through a lot of changes, Alex. Now Versus just bought NBC, so now our show is on NBC Sports, which is Versus. It hadn't changed other than just the name. They're going to drop the name Versus completely, and it'll just be called NBC Sports. So we're glad that I think a lot of people were confused with that name, so I think that's a positive move. Everybody knows who NBC is, so
right.
I think that's a very positive move for us.
Versus bought NBC, the National Broadcasting Company?
That's right. You know, Comcast owns Versus, and Comcast bought NBC. So, effectively, I guess you could say Versus acquired NBC because Comcast now owns both.
Right. So, Hank, what are you working on these days? What adventures have you been on? I know we had adventures together, but what are your latest adventures?
You know, I'm going down to Florida tomorrow, going on a snook fishing trip. We're going to televise that. I've never done that before, Alex. I fish for about everything, and I love to watch people fish for snook, but I've never done that. So that's my adventure for the weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow, and we're coming back next week, but going snook fishing.
So how big a snook do you hope to catch, Hank?
You know, they're catching them, and this is the time to do it. The moon's not totally perfect, but it's pretty close. You know, we're waning moon, and in July, on a building moon, they catch a lot of 18 to 20 to 25 pounders, and which would be incredible for me to catch 120 pounds. So I think anything for me over 15 pounds is going to be awesome, and I'm hoping that we can catch more than just a few.
Let me ask you about fishing in the summer. You know, we've had one heck of a heat wave in the last couple of weeks across the country. How is summer fishing different when the heat is on like that?
You know, there's two different ways that I approach it. A lot of people feel like that the fish really go deep. And in the northern lakes, they can and they do. But for most of our southern lakes, we have a thermocline. And the hotter it gets, the later in the summer, the more of those hot days we have, our water stresses a lot. And we have a thermocline. Most of those fish are in the top 10 foot of water. They're not down deep at all.
Really? The hot weather brings them shallow?
Yeah, it builds that thermocline. What happens is your lake stresses and it starts to turn over. The water on the top becomes heavier than the water on the bottom. So that water starts to sift through, and so you lose oxygenation. And usually that thermocline in most of the lakes that I fish around where I'm at, close to Charlotte, North Carolina, most of our lakes by late July, the thermocline is 12, 13 foot deep. So all the fish in the lake, instead of being down there in 30, 35 foot of water on those ledges like you think they should be in cooler water, they're in 12, 10, 11, 8, 5, 6 foot of water.
North Carolina is NASCAR country. You were neighbors with Dale Earnhardt. I remember that. Did you ever get into NASCAR?
I have. You know, I drove for a while. I drove 2 Busch Grand National races, or attempted. I did not qualify. I ran one in Rockingham, North Carolina, and then I ran one in Martinsville, Virginia. But, you know, I had 2 boys. Hank Jr., he raced for Jack Roush when he quit racing about 5 years ago. And then when my son Billy Parker, they call him Catfish, he was racing with Rusty Wallace when he quit 4 years ago. So I'm like the guy in the AA meeting. I can stand up now and say we've been NASCAR free for 4 years.
I remember Hank Jr. and NASCAR. I don't remember Catfish.
Billy didn't race but 2 years. He got a pretty serious head injury up in Chicagoland, and they just felt like it would be better for him not to race anymore.
Yep.
He's had 2 pretty severe concussions, so we kind of persuaded him to let's do this hunting show together. So Hank Jr. and Billy both left NASCAR, and we started shooting a hunting show.
Hank, we're out of time, so I got to say thank you for being on with us. Good luck with the snook fishing, and would you come back again, please? And let's not let another 20 years go by, all right?
All right, we'll do that, buddy. And I got to say in closing, Alex, I'm still throwing those flying lures, and they're still catching fish. You got to come out with that next generation pretty soon.
Well, the 20th anniversary is coming up real soon, and we got something special planned for that. I'll keep you in touch on that. All right, Hank?
That's great, buddy. I sure do appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Hank. We have maybe who is arguably the top female angler in the world right now. She won the WBT Classic, and she actually was in the White House with George Bush and Alton Jones. I'll never forget that. Let me read you the list of some of the things she's won. She's been the 2001 WBFA World Champion, 2002 winner of the WBFA Invitational, It's too much for me to really even read. Let's just welcome Judy Wong. Judy, how are you?
Hello, Alex. Oh, very good.
Last time I talked to you, you were fishing with our friend Gary Yamamoto, weren't you?
Right. Yes. I sure was.
And
down in Port Fourchon,
Right.
Near Grand Isle. Right.
And what happened? Did you catch some fish down there?
Oh, yeah, that was back in the fall, and we caught lots of redfish. I was out with them probably a couple of weeks ago, and we went offshore and caught some what they call cobia or ling.
Right. I'm familiar with cobia. It's a southern fish. I've actually caught him down in the Keys myself. So how is Gary? Is he okay? Has he got anything new coming?
He's doing good. Well, you already know now that the swim Cinco is out, and then, of course, he has the hula swimmer, which is the newest one. It's like the swim Cinco with like a hula skirt on the head of it.
Right.
But he's done well with that right now.
That's his new bait, the hula senko.
Yes.
How long is the hula senko, if I may ask?
It's, I want to say 6 inches. We have the 4-inch model and then the 6-inch.
Okay. That's it for Gary. What else have you been doing?
Well, I haven't been fishing quite as much lately. Of course, the heat here is terribly bad, and as well, our lake is very low. On Toledo Bend, it's about 10 foot low, and so it's become kind of hazardous, navigating and with all the stumps and timber out there. Fishing's still good, though, but, I've just been occupied. Actually, I am an artist, and I haven't, just done as much painting as I would like. But recently, a project came our way here to the Toledo Bend Lake area. Our tourism decided to have these. They're big. I mean, I'm talking 7 foot by 10 foot fiberglass bass, placed in certain areas around the lake. And they asked artists, local artists, to paint these. 7 to 10 foot largemouth bass?
That's crazy. You know what? We got to go to a break right now. When we come back, you'll have to fill us in on this crazy story. All right.
More of America's favorite outdoor talk program, Outdoors This Week, after these messages.
Bubba had a dream, Bubba had a wish, to find himself a woman that loved to fish. One day at the tackle shop, his dream came true, and now for everyone he catches, she catches too. Hey, Bubba, she fishes better than you.
Asian carp are spreading through many waters in the mid-U.S., and they're crowding out popular sport fish in the process. But I guess you can take lemons and make lemonade. Outdoor writer Will Brantley and friends are now bow fishing for these carp, and they're having great success in the process. I'm Wade Bourne, and this is Wired to Fish Radio. Today, one way to utilize these invasive Frankenstein fish. Stay with us. Wade will be right back. Things get personal with the new Smith & Wesson Bodyguards, offering personal protection 24/7. This new line of self-defense handguns adds an extra level of confidence to any situation. Designed with integral laser sights, the new Bodyguard 380 pistol and Bodyguard 38 revolver are lightweight, compact, and easily concealable. For more information on this new line of self-defense handguns, contact your local Smith & Wesson dealer or go online to smith-wesson.com. It's impossible to know how many casts it'll take for your reel to fail. Is it 500, 1,000, 5,000? The good rule of thumb to protect your investment is using Ardent Reel Care products every 3,000 casts. Just like an engine, a little care goes a long way. So remember to clean, lubricate, and condition every 3,000 casts, because the next cast you make could be the one you'll never forget. Ardent Reel Care. Take care of the reels that take care of you. ArdentReels.com. This is Wired to Fish Radio. I call invasive Asian carp Frankenstein fish because they're monsters, taking over many mid-U.S. waters by sheer numbers. Now, outdoor writer Will Brantley enjoys bow fishing. Last July, he heard about Asian carp congregated in the Barkley Dam tail race in western Kentucky. So Will and some friends checked out this spot to see if these fish were indeed there. They launched their boat, and here's what happened next.
We were there probably 15 minutes and it looked out across the slack water there below the dam, and you could see, looked like a bunch of softballs coming through the water. And it was those big Asian carp, and they're plankton feeders, filter feeders, and those softballs were their great big mouths sucking in that plankton, and they were just right under the surface. So they got up there next to us, and my buddy drew back and shot one and fought it for the longest time, and finally got it in. It was close to 50 pounds. It was a heck of a lot of fun. We went back, I don't know, probably at least once a week, every week for the rest of the summer, and just shot a lot of fish. And we even ate a few of them. They're not too bad to eat. They're kind of tough to clean, but it's fun to do, and you kind of feel like you're doing a service because, like I say, they're invasive, and there's certainly plenty of them down there.
By the way, Asian carp can live up to 25 years and grow to more than 100 pounds in size. And that's today's Wired to Fish Radio. I'm Wade Bourne saying thanks for listening, and get outside.
Thanks, Wade. And we have with us maybe the top female angler ever by the name of Judy Wong. And Judy was just telling us a crazy story about 10-foot bass around Toledo Lake. And Judy, what was that all about?
Oh, yeah, it's it's a tourist attraction. It's basically what it is. Like you said, we've got these enormous bass around the lake area, but they've been painted by the local artist, and I've painted 2 of them, and starting on my 3rd one now. Just huge fiberglass bass. They're an attraction. The people that come to the lake area really do seem to like them because we've seen people, taking their photos with them. Climbing on top of them, which really we don't recommend, but they're just enormous.
Are they around the sides of the lake?
Yes, just as you come in from Texas to Louisiana, you cross the border there on the Pendleton Bridge, you'll see one of them. There's one at the Cypress Bend Park. There's one in front of a major intersection here, which is Highway 6 and 191, Toledo Taco. And then also in the town of Manny, there's one. And, so in this parish, which is Sabine Parish, we've got them just everywhere.
You paint them all kinds of crazy colors?
Yes, there's 6 different artists, and so each has their own idea, and so they were selected by a committee. Some of them are real colorful. The ones that I've done they're all colorful, but some of them have themes on them and painted with an image on the side. But they don't look. They look like bass. You can tell it's a bass, but they're not painted just like a real bass.
What do your bass look like?
Well, the 2 that I have actually have images of an angler in a boat and then fishing out. There's an underwater scene with some bass underneath the water. One that I also painted for our medical center, Sabine Medical Center, has clip art, people, of a surgeon and a doctor and a nurse, and then also an older gentleman with a walker. But then underneath on the tail side, I have a family in a boat that's fishing, and so it's just a cute scene with the hospital in the background as well. So it's representative of the medical center, but also it still looks like a bass. I've got on the fin, on the top fin, the sunrise, and on the back fin, I've got a rainbow. So it's just a happy scene.
When did you discover that you had a knack for art?
Actually, I went back to school for a fine arts degree back in '87. That was a long time ago. But
so you were an artist long before you were a bass fisherman.
Yes, you could say that maybe, but and I thought I could do both, and that's what I'm trying to do now. I've got some bass prints, as a matter of fact, that I'm trying to paint more scenes, wildlife, and different bass scenes, and from those tournaments as well. And that's something I want to, develop and spend a little more time doing.
How can people see your works?
I have a website. It's judywong.net.
Okay. Are all your works up there?
Well, I don't really have any up for sale there just yet, but I'm working on it to incorporate it into my website.
Okay, so JudyWong.com. People can at least take .net. All right,
Yeah.
Judy Wong. Who's got JudyWong.com? Some other Judy Wong, the evil Judy Wong.
Yes.
All right, Judy, where are you going to go fishing in the fall?
Well, actually, I don't have any other tournaments scheduled for the rest of this year. I just plan to, do my artwork and paint some, and then next year I'll probably get started. Again, I'm thinking to fish with the BASS Bass Opens.
You're going to just fish the opens, is that correct?
Correct, right.
Is that what a lot of the other ladies are doing as well?
Yeah. There is a new women's tour that started.
Right.
It's called Lady Bass Association.
Yep.
This is their first year. Its turnout hasn't been, as well as they would have liked. But and I did fish one of the tournaments with them. I just feel like, I just wanted to, take a break this year and then maybe get started back with bass next year.
Okay, Judy, the time has run out, so we got to say goodbye to you and say goodbye to the folks that are listening.
Well, it's always good talking with you, Alex. Yeah, if anybody wants to, look me up on my website, or if they have any questions about fishing tips using Yamamoto baits, don't hesitate to contact me.
Okay, sounds good. And JudyWong.net, not .com, right?
Correct.
Don't go to .com. That's the other Judy Wong.
Put in Judy Wong Fishing. I'm the only one of the Judy Wongs that fish.
All right, Judy Wong Fishing. Look it up.
Okay, thanks,
all right.
Alex.
Thanks, Judy. Bye-bye.
Alex Langer, Outdoors This Week.